Nobody's driving, not your boss, not the CEO, not the government. No one is actually steering the systems that run your entire life. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So today, we're going to show you how to grab the wheel of a machine nobody's driving. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Leadership Lounge Book Club. I'm Chris Duncan. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by Alan Edwards and Jay Jacobson. Good to have everybody here.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll have Shannon join us here in a little bit. I think he must be running late. If you're watching live on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, we can see your comments. So give us some feedback, ask a question, or leave a comment. If you want to join us next week, let us know through the myriad of social platforms or email. If you need to catch up on some chapters, maybe you missed us last week, you want the weekly reminders or need links to the show, whatever it is, it's all at sedaris.com/book club. That's CDAERIS.com/book club.
All right. The first rule of book club. We always talk about book club. And this started off as a joke, just referencing Fight Club. And we're going to find out that Fight Club is actually mentioned in this section of chapters. And it's not a joke because it's literally all Chris and I do all day long, talk about book club. So this week we covered chapters 201 through 240 of This Is Strategy by Seth Godin. The assignment was to come ready with your favorite chapter and your least favorite chapter, but more importantly, what we will take away and how to apply it or why those chapters are like that. Let's start with Chris today. But first, let's do a quick word from our sponsor, MSP Hire. If you are an outsourced IT service provider and want to stop sifting through resumes and start building your team, MSP Hire is for you. Get the right hire the first time. MSPHire.com. All right. So, Chris, what was your favorite chapter and why to start the conversation?
My favorite chapter this week was chapter 206, which is titled "The Person in Front of You is Part of a System, but they aren't the system." The idea behind this chapter was that everyone is part of a system, and they're driven by the system. They're not necessarily the system, but they make up part of it. And I think this is my favorite because it goes to the idea that everybody's a little cog in the giant wheel of machinery. Sometimes we're aware of the machinery, sometimes we're not, but we are just people operating in systems. And we might not even know that we're in a system. Sometimes we're very cognizant of the systems and sometimes we're not. And that when people, I think my big takeaway from this was that it's almost like the walk a mile in my shoes kind of idea that if somebody's in a system, that we have to almost be in that system with them to understand the decisions that they're making and why they're making them.
Interestingly, Chris, I don't know if I quite marked it as my first chapter, but I was trying to build these chapters and these thoughts around a theme. And the very first theme I highlighted started with the exact quote that you gave from 206, that they're part of the system, but they are not the system. And what I took away from that for me is when I'm coaching clients in operations and leadership, is it's not my job to persuade them or to push them into what I might see as the best way to do it. It's to actually see what systems they're caught into and then map out what are the incentives for them to change their behaviors. What other systems are going to reward them? Is it going to help them create status, affiliation? What feedback loops are they listening to? And especially in business sense, what are those delays in the feedback loop where you don't get to see the results until long after the action's made? And I have to see all that before I touch or advise on anything. And that's been an eye-opener for me from this book.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how the author refers to the system as the invisible hand that has no owner. I think it's very true. It's out there. It's shaping and forming everything that is happening within the organization, but we don't really see it and we don't really feel it and we don't really know who it is. But yet we're stuck with that hand, and we have to play the hand that we have.
Yeah.
Does anybody disagree with that completely? I was just curious. Like,
It's an interesting free will conversation also.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or higher power, or I mean, you go long way with this,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't have any. I think this really resonated, and I think it's come up in conversation this week as well. Is why I think this one was my favorite. It was actually a little difficult. The one about the Tesla Model 3 and the Cybertruck could have been my favorite, only because it directly calls out people that buy the Cybertrucks as fanboys, and that made me smile. But I felt like that wasn't a good basis to put a holistic best chapter on a title.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting. He draws a distinction between leaders who work in the moment and make decisions in the moment versus those who have the long-term plan. They can see the mission, can see the whole picture of everything, and make decisions based on that. And that's one of the big things I took out of this chapter.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good chapter.
Jay, what was your favorite?
Well, it was 206, but fortunately, I've learned from this group that I have to have some backups just in case. So I'd highlighted a couple
Sometimes
others
it's okay.
that hit the same kind of experience. But chapter 216, it is what will I tell others? And it's like why organizations aren't more innovative, because we get locked down by the system. We have to, if we're going to make an innovation, if we want to make a change to the system, we have to tell somebody. We have to tell our boss. We have to tell the owner, whatever it is, and then it's run through that process. And the mission and the values that they have at that level may be completely different than what we see at our level. But it is designed to not change the system. And so we have to make micro changes to a system in order to affect it. And we have to involve other people to do that.
Yeah. I think that this chapter, and I think it's finally, as we approach the end of the book, maybe this is the point of this book and then others where the culmination is really the last quarter of the book. But this is bringing in a lot of pieces that we've touched on through the book, which is, that and in this case, the systems is good and bad. It's an enablement and it's also a disablement. It is bureaucracy. It is the need to have not advocates. What does he call them? Not fanboys either, but people that are, say again?
The early adopters, you spread the word?
Early adopters. It is that you can't just change a system with a snap of fingers. There has to be people that want the system to change and it's stepped through a proper process. Sometimes that's an enablement and sometimes that's a disability, depending on the type of system and how fast you want it to change.
And change has to have one person that's passionate about enough to work against the system, to say there's a better way. And when you get a hold of that person that has that passion and you can make that little change and you can convince not just the early adopters, but those that okay, test it out for me, see if it works. And then I'll jump on board and then I'll pretend it was my idea. But that's the kind of process you have to work through to get some change made.
I think he made this point perhaps in last week's reading, if not this week's reading as well, which was what's disrupting a system is one thing, and that's rare, he says. However, there's all these other systems around at the same time. So a lot of times what it takes to shake up a system is just find out how it interacts with other systems. I think those other systems could kind of be a cheerleader for certain types of changes. Right? Yeah. Everybody's looking out for their self-interest, even in their wanting to build community. It's the self-interest that they want to do that. And that's part of the systems we have to play into, helping them get what they want.
And he talks about building a system within the system. And that's one way of advocating change, is you create this smaller system that can work with the larger system.
Yeah, indeed. Well, my favorite chapter is a complete departure. Add this to the body of knowledge. It was 211, leverage and the exaggeration of strategies. I felt a little defeated after reading the chapter. But what I highlighted was it's hard to hold back and bring a sensible approach to scale because your competitors are in a race to outdo you. So you want to scale to keep up or to keep ahead. And every successful organization will fail unless it becomes something different before it does. So you scale on this one big thing, then it becomes harder to pivot. And I listed as my favorite because it causes me to think, because everything we're doing, like this is my 9th or 10th business. I've lost count. And I feel like a fraud after reading some of these chapters, right? Am I really getting early adopters in to, am I being innovative in some way? Am I scaling properly? Do I have a head start, or am I being more like, and I'm going to lose chapter numbers here, or am I being more like others who are just following what's already been done, what's easy to do because the system already supports that, and that's the safe bet.
Yeah. And is there any really true new ideas?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously they keep happening.
Well, I think in the business world, in the leadership world, there's a huge room for pirates. And I've always joked that I'm a pirate. I'm not a rule follower. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to buck against the system. And that's really what keeps business fresh and leadership fresh is that new idea, what are we doing next? Almost a boredom in the system that you have, and finding something that's new and exciting. And that's where a lot of people thrive. Others do not. Others need that constant, don't change anything. So we have to find ways of working within both types of systems.
I don't think he addresses this, but I'm curious, Jay, just adding on to your thought there. A lot of what I have to coach business owners for is, they say things like, hey, why don't these employees just get it, right? Why don't they just do what's common sense to do? And I have to remind them that the guy who gave up a paycheck to start a business, right, who applied all of these strategies in this book, they're not normal.
No,
right?
They're not.
What they call common sense is not common sense, right? It's their sense. And walking them through that we have to work with these systems that are already in place.
Yeah.
To get results.
One of the things we have to realize is we're trying to convince other people to make change, is that they're playing their own story in the background. All of their experience, all the things they've gone through, and every decision they make, they run through that without even knowing it. And so as entrepreneurs, we have had different experiences. We have built things, we've imagined things and created things, whereas some of the people we're training, they've followed things. They've been given a system and they know how to work the system to achieve, but they don't know how to create a system or to alter it.
And now that I've done this several times, I get worried that I get complacent, right? Because the first time it's sheer optimism and will to get your business working. And you go, oh, I created these systems and I had this plan and the plan worked. So now I know more about strategy, more about how to plan and to stick with it even when it's hard. But one thing I wrote down from this book as well, from this section of reading, I'm just going to, I have a prepared statement for this.
Yes, Mr. President.
So when my prospects come to me, become clients, they frequently come to me for best practices. It's why they call me. But a best practice is only the right answer until things change. And the ground is always shifting underneath you, right? A new tool, AI is the big one these days that is changing the systems. So my real job as a consultant isn't reciting the playbook, even though that's part of what I do. It's spotting when a proven practice has quietly stopped working, and having to be able to step up and go, I wrote this proven process, but it might not work anymore. And I think it's that honesty and authenticity that is you have to build something better. And I don't know if that's in juxtaposition, because he talks about one of the chapters that best practice can be a safe haven, the easy way, the sheeple way. I use it a lot, but then having the bravery to see when it's not working.
Yeah.
Well, our knowledge base is growing so rapidly that everything's changing. And so if we assume that what worked 6 months ago, a year ago, or even 5 years ago is going to work today, we're probably sadly mistaken. And what works this week may not work next week. It's moving that fast.
Yeah. There's a chapter called Revolutions Are Rare. And then Chris and I were having a little spat this morning about a statement in the same chapter, which is real change is judo, not surgery.
Mhm.
And once again, the author does not explain himself.
No.
And I don't have judo training, but I thought, and I haven't looked this up, that judo was the using the other person's body weight and momentum against them.
Pretty
Yep.
much. Yes.
I think that's how I've always thought of it.
It would have been really cool to have it defined in the same chapter, but
So many moments in this book.
There were a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah. Maybe he was worried about having too many chapters. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, this chapter's too long.
Yeah. Let's cut it down.
Well, I think that's not to digress on criticism of the book though, but this is a part that's missing. Like, are we meant to take that away and ponder judo for a while? Like, is that the intent, or would it have been simpler to say, as in, here's an example.
Yeah.
Judo is this is that. And I think that makes up almost a stumbling point on those chapters that I stop and go, maybe judo was the point. Maybe I need to think more about judo because it's not defined here. Maybe that's the cue to like do some self-reflection and figure out what judo. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, go ahead, Jay.
One of my experiences working with very brilliant people is that they mistakenly thinks everybody else sees exactly what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
They see the world exactly like they do. So you get things like this where nothing's explained because it's like, well, of course you understand that. No, we don't. So,
Yeah.
And now, speaking of judo, not surgery, and I kept trying to apply these things to what I do to help me understand and study this book better. I had naturally found myself doing this, but again, seeing it spelled out like this made more sense. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I didn't realize it, which is not to come in and like change a system, break a system or a process, but to actually find out where their friction is already and then offer each person affected by that friction an easier path.
Right. Yeah.
And so now I don't have to coerce them to change. I just have to figure out where their friction is. You go, oh, this feels bad to you. Well, here's an option that should feel good to you, and it makes the system better.
Yeah.
And aligning those two things makes the winning change every time.
Yeah.
So that alone, worth reading the book for.
Yeah, we need a condensed, Cliff Notes version of this. We're like, okay, here's the chapters you actually need to read. Here's the ones that reference judo that you could probably skip.
Well, I mean, but at the same time, we've proven in these live streams, right, that we have different favorites. We've discarded things that were favorites of other people. So I think honestly, it's a great bathroom read. Put it in the back of the toilet, attach a pen to it. That's how I should have done this book.
Yeah. I just know in the last 17 chapters, he's going to come back to judo and we're going to say, oh, I remember.
Yeah. Watch it happen.
I can tell you that doesn't happen, but it would be optimistic to predict.
And I have to give an honorable mention one here. Chapter 220.
The first rule, Alan?
The first rule.
What's the first rule, Alan?
The first rule is we always talk about book club. But he actually mentions Fight Club in the very first thing. It's like the first rule. It's not only the fax machine or Fight Club or Alcoholics Anonymous. The network effect powers any system that deserves it. I just said, I mean, somehow I hadn't read that chapter when we added this first rule from the last book of book club. It's there. Honorable mention.
Yeah.
220.
Yep. Good. Well,
do we have anybody?
Yeah. Any other favorites on your list, Jay?
No, the chapter 220 actually hit my gray highlighting tool as one of my least favorites. So it just shows that we each get different things out of the material that we're reading.
I didn't say
I approach this as a communication between people, frame of reference when I was looking at these 40 chapters, and this one just didn't really quite fit it for me.
Yeah.
220 was not my favorite. I just liked the fact that it mentioned the first rule and book club. We had some sort of prescience about that.
Yeah, it got honorable mention because of that.
I can give you one more chapter quote for my second favorite chapter if you like.
Yep, do it.
221, do versus want.
Oh, the Yoda.
Yes. What people do might not be aligned with what they want because we all have bad habits, right? Peer pressure, all sorts of other stuff, bad habits. we're not trying to tell them what they want is wrong. That's a hard sell, and we probably don't have enough leverage to pull it off. Instead, we're working to create the conditions for people to choose to do useful things while seeking what they've always wanted. And what they want is status and affiliation, some combination of joy, honor, and achievement, a place to be safe, a way to excel. And I think I pulled a lot of my lesson previously from that quote about, when I'm implementing new processes and new systems, finding a way to say, this is what you want. This will be better for you, not for us, even though it is also better for us.
Yeah. That chapter also, well, I don't know. There were again, each section or whatever we're going to call the grouping of chapters we go through seem to have a theme, ironically. But I do feel like that has come up a couple times in this, where people in systems don't change unless either the system changes around them, or they have some compelling reason to change, or they need to make a change. And this kind of goes over and over again, where the persuasion is not something that does well when there's a system that's moving a person in a system. I mean, it's getting complicated, but that it has to be based on the system changing, not just persuasion. And that's kind of where my mind went to on this chapter, was we can't really, the people are aligned with something and they keep going down that path because that's what they want, because it gives them something. The system's rewarding them somehow. And you can't just pick them up and take them away and make them believe that their system needs to be changed because of it.
So what Chris just really said in all of that is the system works against you.
Yeah, it does.
That was a really way around the globe and back again. It's very clear in my mind, Jay. I don't know why you can't.
I know. It's like, okay, Chris, let's get there.
I know. Yeah. There's shorter words.
I don't mean to pick on you. It's
That's
just
okay.
like, okay.
I do. I'm best at that. It's okay to pick. All right. Well, Alan, how are we going to take these lessons and apply them to work next week?
I've pretty much stated mine. The summary was, I'm going to show them a less friction way to get what they want, to join a system that we also want. For my clients, that's what I plan on doing. I'm also going to not rely on just best practices. I'm going to make sure I'm challenging my best practices and understanding what's changed and how to reward the nodes in that system newly. That would be what I'm doing.
Okay. Jay, how about you?
And I'm going to jump on the judo analogy and just understanding the people in front of you, the people that you're trying to exact change out of. They're running everything through their own story. And so use that story, use their momentum to help them move in that direction that they need to move. Don't try and reinvent it. Work with what you have and direct that energy.
Judo.
I mean, my chapter, same thing, is that, and I'm thinking of it in the sales world, which is that the people that are in front of you when you're in a pitch or you're selling or you're presenting, they're part of a system, and that you need to think of their systems when you're talking to them, not assume that they care about the things that you're talking about. That you need to phrase the selling moment with perspective of their systems, not just what's right in front of you and what you think is most important to them. You have to consider their systems.
Very good.
All right. Wonderful. Any final lingering comments before we wrap up this exciting chapter section?
All right. We have just a few weeks to go.
We do. There's a survey out on LinkedIn and soon to be Facebook to help pick the next book. So please check out the Sedaris, or it's definitely being shared by the rest of us. Anyway, find the link to the survey. Give us your vote for the book. We've got 3 classics that we've thrown out there. We're going to hit a classic on this next book. So give us your vote on that, please. Next week, we're going to cover chapters 241 through 280. Jay and Alan, please come prepared with your favorite chapter and your least favorite chapter, as well as the most important part, which is why those are important to us in the daily grind. If you're listening to us, please like and subscribe to your favorite channel to get notified when we start streaming. Next week, we're going to be again on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Thank you, Alan and Jay. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you to our sponsors, MSP Hire, for all of their help in getting this production done. We will see everybody next week, the same place, the same time, Thursday at noon Pacific. Bring your book and bring your thoughts. Thank you.